Welcome to One Win on Air. I'm Fernanda, and today our guest is Levon Nikoghosyan, CEO of AffPapa and iGaming Club. Levon is building an ecosystem at one of the most complex intersections in the industry. Affiliates, operators, B2B, reputation, trust, and deal making. Today, we will talk about his journey, his principles, the mechanics of building a real community, and how to make decisions when there's still no perfect clarity. What is the one engineering instinct from your developer days that helped you the most as a CEO today? In negotiation, product, or maybe hiring?
My first role, like as an adult working in a company, was as a tech developer. I started leading the team. I was a team lead of the product, which was again related to the affiliate industry. I think the technical background helped me a lot in communication with the clients, in managing the team, because having that knowledge helps you to understand the scopes and the limits of the system, what you can build, what you can control, what you can request, how much time it can take, to develop something. And also when talking to the customers, like clients, getting some requests from them, approximately what is doable, how long it's gonna take, I don't know, technically what is possible, what is not. And you don't need to go back to your dev team, in order to be able to reply on the go. So I think it gave some advantages, as well as first technical hirings in the team. I managed to close it myself. I managed to interview people, but obviously my knowledge is a little bit obsolete. It was like 10, 12 years ago when I was developing. But still, I think the technical background helps a lot.
So in 2015, when you launched PartnerMatrix and the support of every matrix and the Jerevan office, what was the most underestimated resource at the very beginning? Maybe people, process, infrastructure, or market trust, and why?
When we established PartnerMatrix, we founded it basically from scratch. So we managed to, get the people for the team. We managed to find nice talents, but the challenge was, and I wouldn't call it underestimating, but more it was an uncertainty and lack of knowledge from my side, that building a software and selling that software is totally different things. Because if before my main goal was to create the best product based on the requests of the customers or our own research, now your goal is to prosper the company. Your goal is to increase the revenue. The one thing that I clearly didn't know was how hard it is to sell an affiliate system to operators, how many stages you have to go through to convince them to move to your platform, to convince their platform to integrate with you. And also for them to have a need to do that. Because if you don't have a need to move from your affiliate system to another one, you wouldn't do that. It's the same like with the barbers, right? When you have a favorite barber, if someone offers you for half the price, you are not gonna, go for the offer or think about it unless you have a reason to do that. So basically, it's the same story.
You became a CEO quite early by career standards. So how old were you at that time, and what was the first honest emotion that you felt inside?
Yeah, I was 20 years old. The first emotion was, a big responsibility. Becoming a CEO is something like becoming a dad, a parent. Because before you imagine it in one way, but the reality is totally different when you are there. On a daily
basis, you need to.
Pressure, which, always comes with the responsibility. And it was quite interesting because there were many stories, especially the first event that we attended right after I became a CEO. We had a client meeting in Tbilisi, Georgia.
Okay.
And with these clients, we invited them to a casino. We were playing at a poker table and suddenly a security approaches and they ask for my ID. Obviously, I'm under 21, so they take me out from the table. The clients are surprised, and like finally we managed to close the deals, but I had all this little, confusions and situations with a couple of leads and our partners because of my age.
Amazing. Great story. Did you face imposter syndrome maybe, or skepticism because of your age? And what specifically helped you establish yourself as a leader quickly?
I wouldn't call it imposter syndrome because my feeling mostly was like a frustration. You need to work with different teams. You need to work with different people and be in charge of all these teams. So now when you have not only the tech team, but you also have account management, sales management, marketing.
Whole new team, right?
Yes, and you have to learn everything because you don't know those things. And if you don't know, you can't control them. How are you going to scope some KPIs for your marketing if you don't know how marketing works, or the sales? And with running the company, when you have your marketing in this level and your product is in this level,
you need
the sales or the revenue you are making is on the level of your lowest department. And when you have your product here, but your marketing is underdoing, then your sales is on the level of your marketing. So your challenge as a CEO is to balance these levels. That's a very important part of building a company, and you learn this on the go, and it takes time, obviously.
Totally. Well, really related to this answer, what soft skill do you value the most as a leader, and how did you develop it in yourself?
I mean, soft skill, when considering your employees or colleagues, I would mention a combination of two things: the feeling of responsibility and the curiosity. Because if someone is responsible, they are not gonna point on anyone, blaming them for their mistake. And when they have curiosity, the responsible person with the curiosity, they find the best ways to deliver the best products or the best output that they could, And when you have this combination, it also creates great leaders, people that you can trust, people that you can delegate, and you won't get any feedback from them or any answer necessary for you to get involved and try to help them figure out. Because even if there was a mistake and it was not their fault, they might sometimes take the blame just to make sure that, because they are that kind of a person. Exactly. So I mean, those two characteristics, I believe, are the most important, in an employee.
What helps you stay calm and steady in the exact moment when a decisions have to be made?
I mean, there is not a single trick for this, but there are some strategies that you can apply. And I have this simple strategy and a kind of thing which you try to build and master along the way. You have to get ready and imagine the worst case scenario, what can happen, what will be the results, and then strive for the best. Like you have still to work and do as much as depends from you to accomplish like the best of the results. When you know the worst case scenario and you have the plan how to get out of it, then nothing else depends on you. You just need to take the actions. And that's the maximum that you could do.
So, and how do you pass the state on your team so people feel grounded even when yourself do not have yet the full picture?
I'm not, usually sharing like some, pressure on them, or I'm trying not to panic. I'm trying not to
overthink maybe.
Yes, and pass it, over the team. But once we figure out what's the right thing to do, what's the solution, what's the maximum that we can invest our efforts into in order to fix this situation, we just start working on that together. So when they see that you are confident, you are doing that, they automatically pick up the mood and
the energy.
Exactly. So I think the best way is to serve as an example instead of just trying to share an artificial state of the status of the event at that moment.
Now, I would like to bring a little closer to the person behind the role, to how a position like this reshape your life. When did you catch yourself thinking, I've started living like a CEO? And what changed you the most in your everyday life?
This is a tricky question because living like a CEO, you realize after a period of time when you understand that you are under constant pressure and attention. Yes. And this is how, you live like a CEO. Because before that, if you are thinking that having the freedom of choice of making all the decisions in the company is a big privilege and it can give you an opportunity to sit back and relax, it's absolutely the opposite. The freedom gives you this pressure because without the pressure, you can't make the right decisions and you can't control the team and direct them to the right way. And if there is a CEO who is relaxing on his position, and just enjoying his life, probably it wouldn't last too long.
Totally. Entrepreneurship comes with both highs and lows, right? So what was ever a moment when you seriously questioned the path you had chosen?
In the beginning, I had a lot of moments when I was like, is this really something that I want? Is this the life that I can cope up with? Because again, the constant tension and the things, the equations in your mind that might not let you relax even out of working hours because you don't have specific working hours. Your goal and your success in life is connected with the company that is yours. And if you fail there, you have the fear of failing in life as well, being an unsuccessful. That's why sometimes, you feel like maybe it was the best to work for a corporate. Maybe I shouldn't have changed. And maybe that's the best way of living where I can just separate my life from my work, and out of working hours I can just enjoy myself, go for vacation, etc. But usually at this moment I just remember myself in the office working for the corporate, and I remember my feelings when I really wanted the freedom. I really wanted to take the risks, make the decisions, and pay myself for the wrong ones, even though the path might be a little bit more stressful, a little bit less enjoyable, but
challenges
exactly.
In your life, right?
But that's the choice you make, and I think for myself, I did make the right choice.
Are your work and personal life intertwined for you, or do you keep a strict boundary between them? Where does that boundary sit today?
I think it will be untrue to say that you can really split your work from life, especially like on these positions, because as a CEO, you are constantly asking questions, questioning everything in the company, trying to find solutions for different issues or projects, or maybe a better performance or a better strategy, etc. And you do this constantly, so it kind of becomes a game, and you are like, even before sleeping or during the weekends or while on vacation, you can keep thinking about something that still bothers you. Of course, sometimes it is required to unwind. My methods are maybe reading a book, taking some actions, being like in a drive, something not related to the company and to the actual work, so that you can really disconnect for a period of time, and later on come back with a better perspective, with a better clear mind when everything is settled a bit.
What underrated skill or mindset would you advise people to develop if they are dreaming on launching their own businesses, whether it's iGaming or any other industry?
When you launch your business, you have to be aware of the amount of challenges you're going to be facing. And there is no perfect planning in anything. Like always, you are ending up in some situations that are stressful, where you have to find some solutions, and where the solutions are unpleasant. And sometimes like you have 3 options, and all those 3 options are unpleasant for you. So first is the stress resistance, and one of the methods which I described earlier, that's one of the ways. And you can create this as a habit in you and develop it further on. And how you develop it is by just applying it many, many times, as much as you can. Sometimes it might not work perfectly, but you just try, because that's the only way to succeed in anything, in life. And the second point, I would say, again, it's the asking questions about everything, starting from the very regular, marketing campaigns or sales cycles, not to copy the sales cycles from the successful companies, but make sure that these cycles work for yours, because every company is different. Maybe you don't need a sales manager. Maybe your company just needs an account manager and a bot which could help the client to purchase your services. And you don't need someone convincing them with promoting or demonstrating a product or something else. As a leader, you need to ask a question, and ask as many questions as you can on every structure or any cycle that you have within your company or whatever you want to implement.
Now let's move to the most complex layer, people and mechanics. What's the first skill you try to instill in them so they don't simply sell, but actually build partnerships?
Affiliate managers sometimes are wrongly considered as just people reaching out to affiliates and, bringing traffic, agreeing on some deals without any need to understand or have
the whole background.
Knowledge about the operations. What we make sure and what we actually do with our affiliate managers is we train them, we educate them about the full flow of the operations. They need to understand how conversions work. They need to understand how bonuses, player retention, and all the aspects after the affiliate is signed, should work later on. Because if you don't know these cycles, if you don't know the complexity after you receive the traffic, then you don't know what traffic you are looking for. Because only then, when you understand how the system works, what affiliates can be relevant to your brand, then you can sign real deals that can last long, But if you speak to thousands of affiliates, you pay them even like the listing fees, and you get your websites on different pages, but their core audience doesn't fit the offer of your casino, then you're just burning money, and within a very short period of time, you will lose the invested money, you will lose the affiliate because they will no more send any traffic to you for obvious reasons. And eventually this will lead to the closure of the affiliate operations.
You also added a separate section for B2B providers because they were trying to register as operators, right? What did that tell you about the real architecture of the market?
Yes, we started receiving a lot of B2B registrations a couple of years ago. The reason for that is very simple. Some companies, they need to do business with the audience that is in AffPapa, and they want somehow to get access to that audience. And we decided that we could create a third role and give them this option, this opportunity, because there are specific companies that, let's say, affiliate programs, right? The best team or the best employee of the company with whom you could discuss and to whom you can offer your solution is the affiliate team. And those are the people sitting on our platform. For affiliate data collectors, again, they are looking for affiliates to whom they can offer their services. Hence, our system is a perfect place for them to reach out to those affiliates and offer their solutions. And recently, on top of that, we started receiving many game providers on the system because, as we have seen the tendency, game providers started paying a lot of attention to affiliates, streamers, because they realized that if you want your game to be popular, it should be promoted. Your brand awareness should be increased. And one of the channels are streamers. And it's a win-win for all, because if affiliate is working with a brand, they receive a commission. At the same time, they can also promote a casino game on their platform. Or if you are a streamer, you are streaming on one win with an additional fee from a casino provider, you could stream on their game and promote their game alongside with streaming for your players. And since then, we have been able to accommodate and host many B2Bs in our system and at our events and our conferences as well.
You have said that affiliate management services were burned out of a real pain point for operators. They want to enter the affiliate space, but they don't know how. What's the most expensive mistake new operators make?
The basic ones are that we often see from the new operators approaching us for the service. They don't understand the markets that they are entering. They think that having the language, couple of payment methods and etc. is enough to be considered as localized. But obviously, that's not how it works. To be localized for a specific geo, you need to understand that geo first, and you have to work geo by geo, understanding the habits of the people, their preferences, etc. So, many operators would think that getting, a standard white label or a turnkey solution and offering great bonuses and nice commission plans is enough. Whereas what we see is that 90% of these operators shut down within the first 6 to 12 months of their operations because it's basically not that easy, to enter.
Now let's talk about AffPapa. I would like to trace the journey from the first bets on the idea that it was now become a full system, right? So you were one of the first investors in AffPapa and later became its CEO. At what point did you realize that a directory was turning into an ecosystem?
Yeah, when we started AffPapa, the main goal was to fill a gap in the industry. The question that we addressed was how to find affiliates. That was when operators always were approaching us and they were like, could you share some contacts? Could you share, or introduce us to this or that affiliate medias? We realized that there could be a system that could systematically help them do this, achieve this goal by creating an not ecosystem, but in the beginning, a direct. And usually why companies fail to do this before us, because whoever created a directory or tried to create an environment of connection between affiliates and operators, they were turning into networks and they are automatically becoming a middleman between affiliates and operators, right? But our goal was very distinct. We were like, okay, we will not charge any middleman fee. Our strategy is different. Our business model is you join, you pay a subscription fee, you get to know as much affiliates as we have in the system. And it turned to an ecosystem very organically, because when you build the product, then you build extensions to the product, and all our extensions served the main purpose, which is connecting these two sides. Hence, we managed to launch the side events, conference, our media, interviews, podcasts, and stuff like that. So everything came naturally, and the force behind it was to make sure we expand and develop the company so fast that we don't have any competitor within a short time.
And what market signal made that clear?
The market signal was the constant requests by operators for a good quality affiliates, requests to get introductions, requests to put them in touch with, the prominent brands who I have known for many years, but there was no structure for that.
Okay, perfect. So AffPapa has moved beyond being just one directory. You launch iGaming club events and projects such as Venture Papa. What signals tell you it's time to expand into a new niche? And how do you decide whether an idea is truly worth executing?
You never know if the idea is worth executing unless you do it.
Yes,
and that's also part of taking the risks. But usually, you have to try all the signals. Basically, the signals where that just being online was not enough, because people are looking for many ways for the solution of the same problem. And one of the ways is connecting them offline as well. So when you have a directory running 365 days a year, the next obvious step is bringing these people together, in an offline atmosphere. It could be a networking drinks, a nice dinner or whatever. And we started experimenting. Our first gathering was in Amsterdam 4 years ago. And since then, we have been doing iGaming Club around the major conferences of the industry.
Affiliate marketing is an incredible competitive space. How do you manage to preserve the uniqueness and value of the AffPapa community when there are so many other platforms and networks out there?
The idea of AffPapa is to be around affiliates and operators, but not in between them. And that's the thing that distinctly separates us from the rest of similar networks in the industry. So the uniqueness is to be around affiliates and operators, but not interfere their relationship. Unless there are some scammers or swindlers that we have to block from the system.
Amazing. Thank you. So from outside, affiliate marketing can seem routine and formulaic, maybe. You bought creativity into it through events, media content, and other formats. So how do you encourage creative thinking and new ideas?
You have to always experiment new ideas if you want to develop, if you want exactly to your brand to covering, the market and making sure that you are holding the position. Doing just the same thing and playing safe is a guarantee that you are going to be stagnating within a period of time. And you have to always experiment. You have to always try new things. You have to always look at other industries, what else is there? What could you apply from another type of an event into the iGaming? What kind of social media marketing you could use in order to stand out from the crowd instead of just sharing standard posts or PRs or standard type of newsletters. Once you stop doing that, your stagnation is guaranteed.
Okay, great. So you describe AffPapa's mission as building a living community where operators and affiliates can find each other directly. So what for you is the true core of AffPapa?
The true core is to bring them together and to make sure that the community is serving for the right companies. So as we touched base a little bit on the swindlers and scammy operators and affiliates, this is the essence that you have to take care of, and leave just the companies and sort of encourage them to work together in the right manner. Because sometimes companies would, it's very appealing to go for a shortcut and to go for a quick wins. But usually these quick wins result very short operations in the industry. So I think that's what we are here, to serve for.
Right now, let's talk about the industry, the reality of the market, the places where things often hurt the most and where reputation is truly tested. So AffPapa has complaints mechanisms, right? Which means you are essentially working on the side of market truth. What are the 2 or 3 more toxic signals you see in the affiliate programs?
Yeah, I mean, it's so many these days, but there are, I think, we have maybe a couple of favorite ones and the most obvious ones. For example, from the operator side, when you have someone offering a very high, commission models or promising mind-blowing CPAs, these are the red flags which you always receive. or when an operator tells you that we are covering all the markets, and especially the crypto operators these days, the newbies that are appearing in the industry, thinking that if cryptocurrencies can be used worldwide, then it means you can operate worldwide. I mean, it's not necessarily a red flag, but it's an indicator that there is something wrong with the brand. Maybe they are not doing it intentionally. They are not shaving or swindling, but it's a problem. They definitely have a problem in their business. So I think this kind of messages and informations are a great indicator that the brand, there is something wrong with the brand.
The gambling industry often faces ethical questions really related. So how do you maintain high standards of reputations and ethics at AffPapa?
Yes, basically, as you mentioned, we have the complaints section, and we are sort of moderating the relationships between affiliates and operators whenever the question is raised to our attention. As we are a B2B, that's why our goal is to solve the issues between the businesses. And for this, the complaints have worked really well. 90% of complaints that we receive are not even published on the website, because in the initial stages, we are reaching out to both sides and we encourage them to solve it in a good manner. And usually that's what happens, because nobody wants, their brand to get listed. And then with the word of mouth, the entire industry will know about the incident in a very short period of time. So this is something we started doing maybe 3-4 years ago. And since then, we managed to clean up the dashboard and our community from unethical and spammy companies. And I think it works really well so far.
Amazing. So do you have any internal red lines, topics or practices that you refuse practicing, even if they could be profitable?
I mean, obviously there are some red lines and some indicators from the operator or affiliate side that would be a no-go for us to work with such brands. Let's say the brands, the operators that are shaving through colossal admin fees, or they are unassigning players from under the affiliates. Like, there are many practices that, are being used these days. And with such brands, we don't have a path to share. The same goes for affiliates, especially streamers, which recently became very popular in the industry. There is a tremendous amount of streamers registering with fake numbers.
Wow.
I mean, even though they have some viewers and stuff, but the numbers are inflated.
Another statistics.
Yes. Results are, it's very sad, and the player lifetime and everything. When after the cooperation, you look into the numbers, you can easily tell that there is something wrong. And it is hard to track in the early stages. But once we receive 1 or 2 complaints, that there is something suspicious, we take these affiliates down, and similarly the same operators down.
Okay, thank you. And has there ever been a moment in the industry that genuinely surprised or shocked you? After which you told yourself, maybe this is exactly how we will never do these things.
There are many shocking events in the industry. And I think it happens very often. Even like one of the latest incidents with us from the event side of our business, we learned from one of our partners that another event company approached them and asked them not to endorse our events or work with us because they would refuse them to participate in theirs or to take, some spots at panel discussions and etc. So basically, this is like an unfair, ways of competition, something that we would never do, but something that is happening in the industry. And obviously, this is not the way we would grow our business moving forward. And this kind of things, after some period of time, they stop shocking you.
Who is the most underrated player in the chain today? Maybe operators, affiliates, or B2B? What do you think?
I think there is no underrated player because the ecosystem works with all three components together. It's the same if you ask, like, with the movie industry, like, who is the underrated? Let's say a movie production, companies like streaming companies like Netflix, HBO, or the end consumer. If you remove one of the components, the system wouldn't work, right? You need all three components together in order for the ecosystem and the infrastructure of iGaming to work. And under affiliates, we see all the traffic providers, because affiliates and traffic providers have become, a thin line between them recently. Some affiliates are working with fixed fee and listing fee, and it increases over and over, throughout the years, which means that it's not anymore post-payment, it's prepayment a lot of times. That's what we see, and I wouldn't underrate or call anyone underrated in this cycle.
By leading a community that directly connects affiliates with operators, you must have learned a lot of building business relationships, right? What's the biggest lesson about networking and relationships that you have taken from this journey?
Every conversation is important. Sometimes you might feel the person you are talking to, maybe he's not a customer of yours or a potential client at that moment, but it doesn't mean that you have to stop talking to them, and switch finding another relevant company. I mean, try to be a human, try to be yourself, and within a time, maybe like this person will somehow become, a partner of yours. Even in the industry, I have like so many good friends with whom we don't cooperate directly, or we are like in slightly different verticals, but still like we have such a good bond and such a good relationship that it's worth thousands of partnerships with others, That's why I think the best thing you can do is to be genuine, be yourself.
Yeah.
And if we're speaking like business-wise, these people can later on recommend you or bring up your company or brand in a conversation that can change your business like 180 degrees.
How do you build connections that remain genuinely?
It's an important question, and all the truly working partnerships, they take time. They require time. You can't find the perfect partner by a short meeting or by meeting them at an event for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that. It takes time. It takes time to trust each other. It takes time to make sure that the partnership is genuinely working. And the strongest partnerships in the industry we have seen have been tested over by time. And that's why, sometimes during the events, you see this overambitious, maybe affiliates or affiliate managers with their new brands trying to get listed in as many casinos as possible because they have targets to hit.
Yes.
But this is not the right approach. This approach cannot sustain too long. So to build a really strong partnership, you need the patience.
So you have a huge network. How do you distinguish real relationships from situations where people are only engaging with you because they want something?
It's something that it can happen. I mean, there is not a distinct way to tell that, because some people can find smart ways to do that.
Okay.
Once we had a meeting with a client from Latin America, and the invitation was to meet the owner of one of the largest casinos there. And the meeting was supposed to be like for a couple of hours. And after 30 minutes of the conversation, when I was demonstrating our product, what we can help them with, I realized the lack of interest in the conversation. And suddenly it shifted to the way that they let us know they have a product which could be a good fit for our audience, and they started pitching theirs. So literally, we invested a lot of resources and our time and energy to listen to someone else pitch. But again, it can happen. I mean, you don't have a guarantee that such situations won't appear in the future. But then you try to, find some ways to detect those in the early stages.
AffPapa essentially sits at the intersection of affiliate and operator interests. What common misunderstandings between these two sides do you encounter most often?
Often we see these from the new affiliates and operators, because the old ones, like old timers in the industry, many prominent affiliates and casino brands, they are already well established. They already have chosen the partners they work with. But when the new companies appear, they don't consider much the question of relevance of your traffic and the casino. And it's also the vice versa. So for each affiliate and the old ones in the industry, you can always see that there are just a couple of brands that these affiliates keep working with year on year. Some other brands, they might experiment. They might put some of these new casinos or cryptos on their website. But these experiments can cost you a lot. And obviously, you don't want to burn any of your traffic on experimenting a casino. That's why when you find about 10 to 20 perfect casinos for your traffic, you stick to working with them. And usually when new casinos and new affiliates enter the market, the strategy is to go for the quantity, to get listed on as many sites as possible, instead of trying to figure out how relevant they are.
Now, let's talk about iGaming Club. This is where we can really see your work, not just with words, but with the architecture of people. So at Gaming Club, you maintain the audience balance almost like a formula: 40 affiliates, 40% operators, 20% B2B, tracking every registration. So what management decision help you preserve that mix when the market is constantly pushing the idea of let's just bring in as many people as possible?
The strategy behind that is very simple. If we do like the rest, we conduct events without keeping the balance, without curating and vetting the companies that attend our events, then we will fall in the same league with these events where we have a big chance to lose because they are bigger, their scale is much larger, and in this league, we will be like the underdogs. And the only option to improve the events and to bring a new quality of the events to the industry is by working on the audience, making it relevant to a specific vertical and niche. In our case, obviously, we are coming from the affiliate side. Hence, our goal was to keep the balance of affiliates and operators and allow also B2Bs who have something to sell or offer to these two parts of the industry, right?
In Cancun, you announced a new format, Affiliate Market by AffPapa. What's the idea behind it, and what concrete result should someone walk away if they only have 1 hour there?
The affiliate market is not like an idea that we have invented, similar to the speed dating sessions, which we have been doing for quite a while. So this is something we implemented from other industries. And once I have seen it like performing really great, the idea is the following. You are having, a line of tables. On each table, a brand can establish like their small base. And similar to the speed dating, the idea is to move quickly and to talk to as many companies as possible. Relevant, irrelevant, it doesn't matter. But in the end, within a span of a very short time, you are being able to, connect and get as many potential leads or partners with whom you can continue chatting later on. And we were like, okay, we have been doing speed dating and let's try a new concept. Why not?
There's another important layer here, media and public visibility. Because today it's no longer enough for the leader to simply do the work. You also have to talk about it. So in 2024, you launched the video series Beyond iGaming, where you show the human side of the industry and host the episode yourself. How do you choose your guests, and what do you want viewers to feel about the industry after watching an episode?
The iGaming industry is saturated with many video content these days.
Yeah.
A lot of content is just replica of each other. And the idea of Beyond iGaming is to speak to the industry representatives, not just about the business, but more about the personal side, their feelings, their emotions when taking certain actions, or their story behind them, you know. And all the guests of the iGaming, Beyond iGaming, are my good friends from the industry.
Right.
And to do this series, we just decided to open them up, you know, to speak to the people who have something to share with their experience, how they grow their businesses, how they manage their teams, and from the personal side also how it affects their life, how do they make decisions in their life, and how much it intersects with their professional life. That's why we try to open them up from the personal perspective, like their hobbies, you know, how their life changed. They moved from one city to another. That's why, Beyond iGaming was purely about people, and we are not really pushing a lot of episodes there, but when we feel that there is a right time and there is a right person with whom we can do that, we usually do it.
What is the most awkward or unexpected situation you personally experienced in the industry at a meeting or event?
There have been many, and I'm sure there is still plenty to come. But once, something that happened maybe like 2-3 years ago, I shouldn't name.
No, without names, yes.
Yeah.
Just details.
An operator of ours was having a management change. And the new leaders, you know, they had a call with me to advise them on some situation with their affiliates. Basically, some of their affiliates were having very high commission plans, like 60-70%. And they were like, we understand that this is awkward. We need to make a change. But do you think it's fine if we cut the commission to half? I said, like, you need to talk to every affiliate, explain your situation, and find a common ground. I'm sure they will understand, but you can't just simply do it as that. They said, okay, thanks for the advice. And then a week after that, at a conference, we are meeting some affiliates, and first one told me, then the other was like, hey, something wrong is with this brand. Our players suddenly stopped wagering. Like the numbers just dropped. It's zero. And like, I could somehow find the coincidence in the conversation a week ago, and the results which affiliates were see. Happily, it solved like in a good manner for both sides. But there are plenty of situations like this happening in the industry, and it's
part also of the game. So you have expressed a very mature and firm position on AI. It is a tool, but it should not dictate the direction. Where do you personally draw the red line? Which part of leadership and strategy would you never hand over to AI, even if it becomes smarter?
For us specifically, I mean, we use AI a lot for analytics, like to understand, you know, to get some information, to analyze the data that we already possess. But relying on the AI to make decisions, I think this is too early for us to consider it. But as I mentioned, some industries have already successfully applied that. For example, many banking companies can use AI successfully to decide how much to loan to an individual based on their history or credit information. I think AffPapa still is compared to the big corporations. It's a small company to apply AI in order to improve the performance of your teams or to cut the personnel cost. But overall, AI is very useful for many things these days, you know. And yeah, I think moving forward, we will see more and more AI tools that will be applied on different structures and departments of your business. It's the same with like App Store or Google Play. In the very beginning, when it was created, like how many important applications or famous applications, were immediately on the platform. But within years, you had Uber, a company that can detect your location and send a cab after you. Then a food delivery service. Then this service, that service for introductions, for dating apps, and this take time. This requires people to get used to that because the more customers you have using it, the more you can start experimenting with that. That's why AI is in the very early stages, but I'm quite sure we'll see tons of useful applications for the AI.
Levon, thank you very much for your time, for showing the industry like the real way it is, and for showing all your perspective, your knowledge. It was really helpful and a great opportunity to learn about you and the industry. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for this great opportunity. This was one of the best podcasts I've been invited to. Yet.
Thank you very much. Friends, this was One Win on Air. If conversations about real business, reputation, and growth resonates with you, stay with us.